What would you say if asked, what is what's your chances of losing your job? What would you say? Not you individually. As club as club managers, what are the odds you're going to lose your job? What do you think the odds are out there? I mean, we've heard CMA talk about average is 2.5 years, or 2.6, or 3.2, or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that any of us know exactly what that is. The odds of losing your job are pretty high in this industry, particularly. If you look at the national average, according to Business Week, 1 in 3 chance of losing your job. Every one of us is professionals. That's what Business Week says. That means a lot of people out there don't lose their jobs at all, and there are a lot of people who lose their jobs every year. But a 1 in 3 chance of losing your job is a pretty high number. It's a pretty scary number. I read something recently that said if you're 40 years old, you have a 60% chance of losing your job involuntarily before you're 60 in 20 years' time. Again, statistics don't mean a lot to each of us individually, but they give us a feeling of what the trend is and what's going on out there. We know we're in a volatile industry. We all know people who've lost their jobs just within the last few months. And many times that has nothing to do with their performance or their ability. It's the economy that has a bigger impact on it. So the opportunity to lose your job is really pretty high. And we're going to talk today about a number of things. We're going to talk about monitoring the changes in your board, documenting your achievements, the employee manual, your contracts, SWOT analysis, resumes, that sort of thing. We're going to cover a lot of those issues, mock interviews. Some of these we'll go through fairly quickly, but some of them we won't go through quickly. We'll spend a little time on because they're pretty important. And I've got some good ideas for you. I've got some things that you can do now that will maybe postpone that day or maybe eliminate that day when you do get that dreaded visit. And give you some tools, some things that you can use. Now, I'll tell you a little story about me and why this is so important to me. I was running a club down in South Carolina, had been there not quite a year, about 11 months, a little over 11 months. And one day the board president walked in and he said, "Joe, you're doing a wonderful job. We are so happy with the way things are going. The club has turned the corner." And he said, "We know how hard you've worked." I mean, we had literally gone from a lost position to probably a break even for that year, which was a huge plus. And he said, we've decided to give you a bonus. You deserve it. You've done a wonderful job, and we're going to reward you, even though it's not part of your contract. And he gave me a $10,000 bonus. And I am walking on air. I am so happy. I think I've done a great job. He gave me a great evaluation. I was just very happy with that whole day. Called my wife, said, "Let's go out to dinner and celebrate. I just got this big bonus." And everything was so good. And 10 days later, I was setting up for an executive committee meeting. And I was in the boardroom, and I was laying the papers out and getting ready for everybody. And in walks the president, the vice president, and the secretary treasurer. And the president says, "Joe, you can stop doing that now." He said, "Well, that's not why we're here today. I'm afraid that the club is going in a different direction, and this is your last day." And I'm thinking, funny. That's cute. You just gave me a big bonus. I didn't even believe it. I honestly didn't believe it and continued to do my thing. And he said, "No, we're serious. It's your last day. I wonder if you could go clean out your desk and leave." Well, I was devastated. At first, I couldn't understand it. It made absolutely no sense to me. If any of you out here, anybody else in this room besides me been fired from a club job? There's quite a few hands out there, surprising. Sometimes I get more than half of the people. It's probably a third of the people raise their hands. Sometimes I get more than half. I actually did one seminar for a chapter, and there was about 12 or 15 people in there, and nobody raised their hand. Not a soul. And I said, either you're all charmed or you're all lying, but I know somebody had to have gotten fired out of this group. But that's a reality. But I was absolutely floored. I couldn't believe it. They had walked in and fired me. And, I mean, unceremoniously. Excuse me. Unceremoniously. They were just cut and dried, straightforward, said, "Go clear out your desk." And they hung around the club for the next couple of hours while I cleared it out. So this became a passion for me at that point. I spent 8 months trying to find my next job, and I wrote a seminar. This was about 9 years ago. I wrote a seminar during that 8 months, and I said, I'm going to have to share this with people. And the name of that seminar is Congratulations, You're Fired. And it came from my personal experience, and it's a companion seminar. It's another 90-minute seminar, companion seminar to this one. And it talks slightly different perspective. It talks more about things like resume writing and that sort of stuff and getting that next job. We'll talk a little bit here, but it goes a little bit more into detail with interviewing techniques and how to get the job. But that's where all of this started. That was a lot of motivation for me.